So welcome back. We are going to pick up where we left off and continue with the exercises at the end of Chapter 1. So we finished Chapters 1 through 5, and now we're going to be working on 6 through 9. So the first of these is to asking the user to enter a number x, and then we're going to be using a special separator, which is these three dashes, to put dashes in between the numbers, the number x, and then twice the number x, 3 times the number x, 4 times the number x, and 5 times the number x. Okay, and so basically that's what the program is going to do. So let's go back to PyCharm. Here once again we create a new Python file called exercise 6. And in this one, what we're going to be doing is prompting the user for a number. Now, since I don't usually like to retype things, I'm going to go ahead and copy that into my program. And now I'm going to use the print statement. One of the first things I need to do, remember that we need to write currently when this is going to be input. This is going to be input as a string, and I don't want this to be a string. I want this to be an integer, so I'm going to use that integer casting function once again. And this time what I'm doing is I'm actually entering the input command inside this integer casting function, and just allowing, once the input is returned, it will be cast to an integer prior to being assigned to the variable a. Then I'm going to use my print statement to output those values. And so the first one I'm going to output is a. The second one I'm going to output is 2 times a. The third one is 3 times a. The fourth one is 4 times a. And the last one is 5 times a. And so these are all going to be in a row. If we were to print it out just like it is right now, we would end up with all of these concatenated, or these would be separated by a single space. But instead what we want to do is we want to put those, put the values, replace that space separator by the 3 dashes. And so what we do is we define this, argument separator and set that equal to the string dash dash dash. Okay, and so this function should allow us to print out that. So let's go ahead and run this. So I'm going to run this exercise 6 and see what we get. Okay, so here I have to enter my number. I believe they were using 7 as the number, and so I ended up with exactly what they're asking for, which is 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. Okay, so that's exercise 6. Let's look at exercise 7. So this one we're asking the user for a weight in kilograms and converting it to pounds. So in order to take kilograms and convert it to pounds, you have to multiply by 2.2 pounds per kilogram. So let's, since I'm going to be asking the user to enter a weight, I'm going to copy this, get that on the clipboard, and now I'm going to create a new Python file, which is going to be exercise 7. Okay, now I'm enter a weight, and then we're going to output on the bottom of this, and we're going to enter, I guess we can output both the kilograms, the weight in kilograms and in pounds. So let's go ahead and use the print statement. In this case, instead of casting it to an integer, I want to handle the case where we may want to have something with a decimal place. So instead of casting it to an integer, I'm going to cast it to a float. Now a float value is just a floating point number, which you probably learned about floating point numbers a little bit when you were in algebra. Well, this is basically the Python variable type float, and we're going to go ahead and cast that to the variable float, or to the variable a as a float, prior to assigning it to the variable a. So okay, so now we need to output, so we're going to do print, and what are we going to output? First thing we're going to do, the weight is Now we're going to be taking it in kilograms and converting it to pounds, so I'm going to say weight in kilograms, and the weight is, and we're going to put A, and we're going to say in kilograms, and then I'm going to say which, period, which is, and here I'm going to put A times 2.2, and then I'm going to say in pounds, period. Okay, so because the separator, the default separator in this is a space, I'll have a space in between is and A, and then I'm going to have a space in between A and in, another space in between is and A times 2.2, which will be the weight in pounds, and then another space after that before in. And so that should print out correctly. So let's go ahead and run this. So I'm going to select run. I can either use debug or run. So in this case, let's enter the weight in kilograms, and we're going to say 20.5 kilograms, and that's telling me 20.5 kilograms, which is 45.1 pounds, and I think I'm going to get rid of the in pounds, which is 45.1 pounds. The weight is 20.5 kilograms, which is pounds. I think that's just that's just the wording semantics rather than anything to do with the programming. So I'm going to enter my weight 20.7, and the weight is 20.7 kilograms, which is 45.45 pounds. Okay, so that's exercise number 7. Let's read exercise number 8. Write a program that asks the user to enter 3 numbers, use 3 separate input statements, create variables called total, average that hold the sum and the average of the 3 numbers, and then print out the values of total and average. Okay, so let's create a new Python file, which is going to be called exercise 8. Okay, so here I'm going to say A is equal to, once again I'm going to cast a float, and now I'm going to use the input statement and prompt the enter the first number. Okay, and then I'm going to copy that 3 times. So I'm going to assign different variables, different variable names to each of these, and so A is the first number, B is going to be the second number, and this is going to be the third number. Okay, now I need to calculate my sum. I usually put spaces between the values just to make it more readable. And now I need to calculate my average. So my average is going to be equal to sum divided by 3. And now I need to print this out. Print. So in my print statement, I'm going to print out the 3 numbers are. And then I'm going to put in, let me not put the space there, and I'll just do A, comma, B, comma, C, and then print the average, or the sum of the numbers is, and I'm going to type sum, and then I'm going to print the average of the numbers is, and I'm going to put average. Okay, so once I have that saved, now I can run that. Let me do a run. This is exercise 8 I'm running. So enter the first number. I'm going to put in 4. Second number 7, and let me put in 1. The 3 numbers are 4.0, 7.0, and 1.0. Now notice that when you cast it to a float, it automatically puts in the decimal place. The sum of the numbers is 12, and the average of the numbers is 4. So that checks out, and so that's exercise number 8. Exercise number 9, a lot of cell phones have tip calculators. Write one. Ask the user for the price of the meal and the percent tip they want to leave. Then print both the tip amount and the total bill with the tip included. So let's create another Python file, which is going to be exercise 9. So here we're going to do, once again, we're going to do a bill is equal to float. We're going to cast the float, and this is going to be input, prompt the user for the input, which is going to say, please enter the bill amount. Actually, I'm going to make this a little bit nicer by, I'm going to put up at the top print, and in this case I'm going to say this is a tip calculator, and then bill is going to be equal to that, and then I'm going to say tip percent. Okay, so my variable is going to be called tip percent, and this one I'm going to also cast to a float, and I'm going to do an input. Please enter the tip percentage. And now I get to calculate it. So the tip amount, and it's traditional that you start with a lowercase, and if you have words that are strung together, this is called camel case, where you actually take the tip and 2 words tip amount and you capitalize the second one. So let's change this to that form as well, tip percent. So tip amount is going to be equal to the bill times the percentage. Now in the case they're going to be entering the percentage as a number between 0 and 100. So we actually have to divide that amount by 100 once we get it. So I'm going to take tip. Now notice that PyCharm actually gives you suggestions of things that you can use. So I'm going to select tip percent so it keeps me from having to type that. And then I'm going to divide by 100. And then I need to output the total is going to be, we can call this total bill, is going to be equal to bill plus tip amount. Now we just have to print it out. Print the why don't we just print out bill amount, and then I'm going to put in comma bill, and then I'm going to print tip amount, and comma tip amount, and then I'm going to print total bill, and then I'm going to put in total bill. Okay, and that should work right. I saved it, and now let me hit run. So if I run this, it's asking me for the bill amount. Let's say my bill is $100, and enter the tip percentage. I'm going to say 7%. I'm not going to be that cheap. Let's say 15. Let's say 20%. Let's give it a nice big number for people who are working in those jobs. And it gives me the bill amount is 100, the tip amount is $20, and the total bill is 120. Now, because I'm U.S. centric, why don't I go ahead and put a $sign in front of this thing. So one thing that's going to do is it's going to make it so that I have to put in the separator manually if I do that. So I'm going to I'm going to replace each of these print statements. I'm going to put in sep equals, and I can copy that and put that in the other ones as well. Paste that in. So now I manually put in separators in between the amount and the $sign, and so let me run that. I can actually run it right down here with this arrow here as well. So enter the bill amount 120, tip percentage is going to be 25%, and now it gives me bill amount $120, tip amount is $30, and total bill is $150. Okay. So those are the first exercises, the first 9 exercises. That's all of them from Chapter 1. So thank you for your attention.